these are our taxpayer dollars.
That's right.
These are our taxpayer dollars, and as taxpayers, these agencies, these politicians, these folk really do work for us.
Right.
And we just have to, I think, get to a point where we organize, collaborate, come together to understand the power of our dollar and how we spend it and who we spend it with.
Quite frankly.
And I will leave it at that.
Yeah. But when it's hitting us in the way that we're seeing it in our face, stuff that was hidden in the background is now being put up front and saying, we don't care how you feel and how you think, and we're going to do this anyway. Right. Stop the mass confusion. Start coming together and strategize on what's going to be best for the people.
Hit that subscribe button, like and follow, and we would love to read your comments. Our first guest is Dr. Darcel Webb. She is a powerhouse in supplier diversity and economic inclusion, with more than 2 decades of impact across corporate, government, and higher education sectors. A proud North Carolina native and North Carolina A&T alumni. She currently leads as Director of Supplier Diversity at UT Southwestern Medical Center, where she builds pathways for minority and women-owned businesses to access major institutional contracts. Before joining UT Southwestern, Dr. Webb served as District Manager for Business Diversity at Dallas College, driving equitable opportunities across the region. She also serves nationally as President of the American Contract Compliance Association and has held leadership roles with the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Women's Business Council Southwest. Through her work, Dr. Webb has opened doors that have transformed how Black and minority entrepreneurs compete, thrive, and build lasting legacies of wealth and empowerment. Our next guest, Indria Hollingsworth-Thomas, a proud native of Pensacola, Florida, is the South Central Regional Senior Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager for JE Dunn Construction. Supporting offices in Austin, Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa, a graduate of Grambling State University, she brings a deep passion for equity and inclusion to the construction industry, advocating for fair opportunities across the marketplace, workplace, and workforce. Indria is widely recognized for her ability to build meaningful partnerships with industry organizations, communities, and diverse trade partners. She works tirelessly to create programs and initiatives that open doors for minority-owned businesses, ensuring they have the resources, networks, and access needed to compete and succeed on major projects. Through her leadership, Indria has strengthened collaboration, advanced economic empowerment, and expanded opportunities for underrepresented businesses. Welcome to Making Black History Today. I'm your co-host, Porter.
And I'm your co-host, Liz.
And we are so happy to have 2 leaders in diversity in the studio today. Welcome, y'all.
Welcome. Welcome
Thank you.
indeed. Thanks for coming in, ladies.
Thank y'all so much for being here. Tell us about your time at the HBCUs y'all attended and how you got from going to an HBCU into the field that you're in now. And I know that's a long question, but go ahead.
You want me to start?
Anybody.
I'm going to defer to
I'd
Dr.
be happy
Webb.
to start.
Yes.
I'm proud to say that I was a single mom raising a set of twins, and went to Winston-Salem State University and then on to do my master's degree at A&T State University. And through that, I did a variety of things. So this wasn't my first job. It was kind of one that I kind of slid into when I moved from North Carolina to Texas. by way of Oklahoma. We won't even talk about that little journey. That was not worth me telling about. There was a young lady who was doing the Supply Diversity at the company that I worked for, and somehow or another I got introduced to that working in the manufacturing area.
Okay.
So not really knowing what I'd gotten myself into, not really knowing how things were going to turn out, and how I've ended up 20, almost 30 some years later in Supply Diversity. It's just amazing to me, because once you do it, what Andrea probably hopefully would say is that if you don't have a passion for it and you don't have a desire to be out there working and speaking up for people, because we're not the first people you want to see.
Right.
When you're working with buyers and sourcing people and, even executives, you have to really push your way and have a message that is going to be received.
Okay.
And sometimes it's really hard. Yeah. So my journey was probably like most people who end up in this position. You end up because there's a need,
right,
or you end up because there's a desire and you see something that you can do that may be beneficial to others and not necessarily to yourself. So we don't do this to win awards. We don't do this for the recognition. We do it for the people that we know need to have us as their resources and the powerhouse behind some of the things that they don't know that they're even going to encounter.
Wow.
So,
Love that.
I fight the battles I can win, but I don't always win the battles I can fight, because I don't want to fight every battle.
Right.
Because you got to really give your energy and your time and your resources to the ones that you know are going to be the most beneficial.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So Grambling State University, I am third generation Gramblingite. My grandmother, my parents.
Gramblinites.
Let's get it.
My grandmother attended the university when it was actually called Louisiana Negro Normal and Industrial School. Then my parents met at Grambling. At that time, it was Grambling College. I'm Grambling State University, and my daughter is fourth generation Gramblingite. So that really is the only school that I applied to when I was in high school. I knew that I was going to go to Grambling. I didn't think about going to any other schools. I mean, that's just all I knew. I've been going to Grambling homecomings since I was 4 or 5 years old. So that's how I got to Grambling. So from Grambling to Dallas, I moved here actually to work for the then regional director for the NAACP. The regional office was here off of R.L. Thornton. The building is gone now. So I moved here in 94 to work for Shannon Reeves, who was then the regional director for the NAACP here in Dallas. After that, I've always been, until I started working for Sealand Services, I worked for Grambling, then I worked for the NAACP, then I worked for Comer-Cottrell.
Okay.
So I've always had, those experiences. My degree is in accounting. So I slid into Supplier Diversity. It was funny when you said that. Not because that's what I was aiming for. But quite frankly, the organization that I used to work for when I first got introduced to Supplier Diversity, a healthcare organization here, there had been a person in the role, and she was no longer in that role. And I was working in supply chain, and for lack of a better, they needed me in that role.
They needed a beautiful person.
Right. They needed a specific look for that role. And I was in supply chain, so I understood how we brought supplies in. I understood contracting. So, literally my director came to me and asked me if I would take on the role at the time because the organization had a policy.
Okay.
So that is how I got into Supplier Diversity. Had no idea, but had always, been about making sure that things were equitable, understanding our history in this country. So it was almost a natural fit. And then just like Dr. Webb said, you can't do this just, because there's no glory in it. Trust me. If you are doing this job, you're doing it because you have the passion for the job. So worked at that organization for 15 years, had great success there. It's so funny now. I was a department of one, and when I left that organization, they literally have hired 4 people.
I know what organization you're talking about.
To do the job that I did. So after I left that organization, I had taken a year off. My dad was not well, but in the time that I'm at that organization, there was a major capital improvement that happened, a replacement of the entire facilities. And so that's where I met my current employer, JE Dunn Construction. And so I moved really seamlessly from that organization over to JE Dunn.
Cool. I want to say for myself, I didn't even know about Supplier Diversity, specifically HUB and MWBE, until a few years ago. So I don't remember anybody in high school or college talking about supplier diversity.
Right.
And I don't think any college student or high school student is like, hey, I want to be like the director of HUB or the director of DEI working with supplier diversity at a construction company.
No.
So for all of the people like myself a few years ago who don't know what HUB is, who don't know what MWB is, can you explain what that is and how it works in the city and in the county? And for you in multiple states.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah, so I started with the supply diversity piece of it, which they said MWB, minority women-owned businesses.
Right.
Not knowing anything about certification and what the requirements were. So you learn as you go, right? And these are the key things that you must know to be able to tell people about, is that they have to be 51% owned, operated, and managing the company. You can't be sitting in Hawaii and say you got a company in Texas, right? So you've got to be able to know your business, be an expert in it, or hire people with the expertise to be in that business. And they would consider a minority as a African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, and then they kind of put in disabled vets along the way, and then women-owned businesses. So the program started back in the 80s, I want to say like 86 or 88 or 84, where the Business Minority Council for DFW was both for women and minority companies. And then there was a split by a executive order that separated minority from the women-owned. So now you have the women-owned business, which is the Women-Owned Business Council. And there were a number of those throughout the region. So the Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Business Development Council, which is now changing their name to the Dallas-Fort Worth Business Council, because of some certification things that are going on there. But they were there to help certify, to make sure that we had suppliers that were bona fide suppliers. They weren't the process. You might, I'm just going to say maybe 98% or 97% were fully who they say they were, and you have that percentage, because it's always going to happen no matter where you are and what you do.
Where the guy owns the business and he puts in his wife's name or his sister's name or his mom's name. And then
exactly. And then when we go out to do on-site certification, just to verify all of that, who's answering the questions? Is she having to bring somebody else in to answer questions? And I did certification and did the on-site certification with the Women Business Council for a number of years. So it's not just saying, oh, I'm 51% owned and operated, come and let me do business with you. You have to justify everything. And we're going through that same phenomenon now with some of the programs, with the DBE programs, which is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprises under the TxDOT or the DOT, and we'll talk about those, I'm sure, eventually. So I didn't really do HUB until I joined UT Southwestern 4 years ago. I was always on the Supplier Diversity minority business side with that. The HUB program is similar, but with them, you are 51% owned, operated. But you must have residence in the state of Texas. You must have a driver's license in the state of Texas. You must have a resident in the state of Texas. You just can't show up and say, hey, I want to be a HUB certified supplier. It doesn't operate that way. So in that certification, they're looking for all of those key things as well.
Okay.
So it makes it, because we're doing economic growth in the state of Texas or whatever state that you're in, but specifically for historically underutilized businesses who have grown substantially here in the state of Texas. The last time I checked is that we had like 16,995 certified hubs in the state of Texas. Once you are certified from the state, is 4 years, and that certification will give you all of the things that you need, hopefully, to do business with the companies that you're trying to do business. But you must do the business. You can't just say, hey, I'm a certified hub, or I'm a minority or woman-owned business, and think things are dropping. You got to compete for the business.
So just a little bit of history, specifically for Hub. It was established in 1999 by the legislature, so by the state of Texas legislature.
Okay.
And it was established so that state agencies like UT Southwestern or the UT system, it allowed for equal. We love that term, equal opportunity, and also to remedy historical disparities.
Can I say it was created for equal versus allowed for equal?
Yeah.
It was created for equal opportunities and to remedy historical disparities, also to increase participation of minority, women-owned, historically underutilized businesses in the state, and the economic impact of those businesses when they are allowed full participation in state projects. So that's about Hub, but Dr. Webb definitely covered, how MWBE certification came to be. So, but just historically for Hub, it was established by the state in 1999. And it was, as with all of these programs, it was about addressing the historical disparities that had been experienced by businesses owned by minorities, women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to add to what she said, it is a good faith program.
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody, again, have to
The Bible
bid.
Belt.
On their
Yeah,
own.
and then we report to the state annually on that. So and then probably gonna be a little bit of a percentage off, but the overall state is at about a 9% for their hub program. There is no set aside. I know we talked about dollars set aside. There is no set aside in our program.
For
In the
Black, Hispanic, Asian women. Everybody's in the same box.
Everybody's in the same box. It's just a goal to try to achieve. There are still some federal programs that may have some set asides, but not on state.
Right.
Yeah.
On that point, ladies, thank you for those robust responses. Y'all really know your work here. Go HBCUs is what happens when you attend HBCU.
Amen.
State Senator Royce West represents the Democrats from Dallas, who co-authored the 1999 bill that codified the program that we're speaking about, the HUB program, said that it is a misunderstanding of the program's intent and its effectiveness with regards to hand up versus hand out.
Right.
He also said that the program is not a quota program.
Right.
It's an opportunity for smaller, disadvantaged businesses to procure network for the state of Texas. That said, ladies, I want to have a candid conversation with you today. For the audience, please excuse my voice or lack thereof. I've been nursing this weather change all week long, so just pray for me and help me get through it in the state of Texas with regards to Black women and other minority groups. With the renewal or removal, I should say, of the DEI, what was called incentives, what are your industries now doing to thwart the sting of the disadvantaged business enterprises programs?
Well, I can say what I've always said to trade partners, our subcontractors. I'm in the construction industry. So we build buildings, and we, as a general contractor, cannot build a building if we don't have good qualified trade partners. And if you are a good trade partner, if you are good at what your scope or your skill trade is, you will get work. And so as these programs are modified, attacked, completely dissolved, the conversations I'm having with the trade partners that, are minority or women owned, is that if you do good work, you're going to get the work. And the reason I say that is the construction industry is booming. There are currently 500,000 vacant construction positions in the United States. So for kids out there, and I went to an HBCU, but I will tell you that if I knew how to hang drywall right now, there's nothing wrong with learning a trade. And so I encourage kids that are getting ready to enter into, high school, even college. If there's an opportunity for you to learn a trade, please do so, because those are jobs that are not going to be replaced by AI. So
can I add to that?
You certainly can.
In the state of Texas, the number might be a little off, but it's close. In the next decade, there's supposed to be like $100 billion worth of construction.
That part.
$100 billion worth of construction in the state of Texas alone. That's all I want to add.
And let me tell you, data center work is work that has high margins. It's fast work. And we all have our phones attached to our hips. So they have to have places to store that data. And data centers are coming up so fast across this state as well as other places. Texas specifically because of the vast landmass. So for students that, are thinking about it, I will never tell you not to go to college, but it does not hurt to go to college and to also learn a trade. So for the folk that I encounter on a daily basis, I'm telling them to continue to do good work, because even as the size that we are, projects are getting so big that we can't do them by ourselves. We have to partner with other similar sized companies to be able to do projects. Prime example, we're not on the K. Bailey Hutchison redevelopment, but that was not a project that could have been done by one general contractor. Too big. So if you are good at what you do, you will get that work.
Okay. So
hold on. Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted to add something? Go ahead.
Yes. What I'm going to add is networking is very important.
Okay.
If you're not out networking and trying to get to know the people who are doing the business, if you are a small company, don't try to go at it alone.
Right.
I tell companies, if you come to UT Southwestern or Dallas College when I was there, and you're trying to do business with us, but you have no reputation, you haven't built up your reservoir of all of the things that you can do, it's nothing wrong with networking. It's nothing wrong with partner. And it's nothing wrong with trying to get the small business and work your way up. Right. You can't start at the baseline and then think you're going to go here. You need to be able to slowly build that business up.
Exactly.
So maybe you scaled up to just as how much I want to do, and you've leveled off because you know that's as much as you're going to do, and you're happy there. Don't try to get someone to force you into doing something that you now you don't have enough people, the manpower, the resources, all the things that you need to do that. So know where your level is.
Yeah, and once you mess up your reputation in the business, that's your name carries.
Your name carries, and the other sad part about it is other people will say, "Oh, I don't want to use that small business because we had a bad." What's that?
Yeah.
Margot Poser used to say that anyone in Supply Diversity, our coordinators, we're the hardest working people because we're having to convince people that you want to use these people or look at their website. We tell you, be consistent in your website. Make sure you have everything up to date. Don't let us send out a proposal and email doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or you get the email and the person that was there is no longer there.
Yeah.
They're gone. So keep all of that stuff up. I know you got to work midnight sometime to get some of these things through, but it is worth it if you expect to even be able to compete in this business that we're doing, not just on the construction side, because yes, there are billions of dollars out there for construction, but there's also lots of money in projects that are not related to construction. So I just want to encourage you not to think just on the construction side, but construction people need stuff too.
Yeah.
Right? They need cleaning supplies. They need promotional items.
Toilet paper is a big deal.
Yeah, it really is.
Safety supplies.
Yeah, gotta have it.
Yeah, so just be encouraged that there are opportunities, but you have to put in the work, and it is tireless, but it's rewarding in the end.
Yeah. Want to partner or contribute financially to the success and growth of this amazing podcast? Learn more by going to our website at makingblackhistorytoday.com or email us at impact@makingblackhistorytoday.com.
Okay, so my question to you ladies both is, why is what you do still necessary today?
Oh, boy. We thought years ago, I don't know about you, that we were going to work ourselves out of a job. And,
I never thought that because I just know people not going to do right.
Well, at least that was the intent.
Yeah.
If I look back at some of the people I've known for 20, 25 years, but every day is a new challenge. And every year seems to be a new challenge. And with new challenges come new opportunities. And with new opportunity comes an opportunity for us to be able to pivot as we did during COVID, to see what we can do to continuously help those that are in this business and what we do. So we may find it a little bit tough some days, but we also know that these things take time, and we just have to be patient and continue to work hard at it. And also learn what's going on in the background, because we don't always get a seat at the table when some decisions are made.
Right.
But I like to invite myself to meetings I'm not even invited to. And people look around the room and go, who is that? What is she doing here? I used to do that at my previous work.
I understand.
Or I see something on the calendar. Maybe I call and ask if I can attend the meeting. Or does it have anything that I might need to know? Because our eyes and ears within our organizations, so that we can communicate that externally, and as well as our advocacy groups, finding out what's going on there so we can communicate to the people we trust in our organizations who's going to help support what we do.
So, like I said, I just know people are not going to do right. Ideally, ideally we would work ourselves out of, a job, but people are going to always need you to advocate for them. And a vast majority of the work that we do, yes, we are having to convince, internally, we're, convincing our project teams to work with, companies that maybe they have not worked with. But also it is working with those trade partners, those businesses, to help them understand exactly how they market themselves, how they get their foot in the door. Going back to construction, something as simple as we love to eat in construction. So if you're dropping tacos off in the morning, as a small business owner, you want to have a quick conversation, 10 or 15-minute conversation with our pre-con and our estimating teams. Pre-con and estimating, those are the team. Those are the
pre-con, pre-construction,
who are going to be the ones responsible for putting the bids together, looking at what is going to be required in the building that is being built.
Right.
So having, a 15, 20-minute, breakfast with them, how to navigate that is a lot of the work that we do. While there are projects and organizations and companies and clients that are pulling back on, goals and good faith effort, there are still quite a few of our clients
Right.
that want us to continue. And then many want to do it, but they're doing it by a different name.
Okay.
You know, a lot of this is trying not to run afoul of the current climate that we're in.
Right.
And we're all here to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I literally told my CEO last week, we don't want to do anything that's going to draw attention to what we're doing as long as we can continue to do the work.
Yeah.
And so many organizations, you know, many of our major clients, while they may not be calling it what it used to be called, we're still doing that work. So because people are not going to do right.
Yeah.
So, there's an article in the Texas Tribune under state government, October 30th, 2025. Quote, Texas freezes programs to help minority-owned businesses, said the state comptroller's office said it would stop using or renewing certifications under the historic underutilized business program. Kelly Hancock, who's the comptroller,
Acting.
acting comptroller for the state of Texas, said it was the latest step towards ending DEI in Texas. Is this a campaign, the question, rooted in class versus race in this country? Is that where this thing is going?
That's a loaded question. So I'm going to try to answer that with all the understanding that I have of spending certification. Did not stop the program.
Okay.
Under the Texas Administrative Code, that was put in place by the legislators. And you can't just walk in and say, we're freezing the program. We are business as usual.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, they are not able to recertify or new certifications to come in. But I recently saw a letter yesterday, and I didn't bring a copy of it with me, so I don't know how far it's gone out. But about 10 to 15 senators signed, giving them step by step why this program is still important. And bottom line, this FY24, there was $4.1 billion utilized for the HUB program spend. That created, I'm going to say, my numbers may be off, so please don't.
Countless.
Right, the multiplier effect.
Yeah. And the economic growth that we have just based on minority, women-owned businesses, HUB programs and so forth, helped incomes in households. It helped grow the business. It helped people to be able to buy groceries,
Right.
to buy housing and so forth. So the program is still alive and doing well, but to put now some parameters around with the suspending of certification did not impact what we do. As I said, there were over 16,000 companies in that list. But it does hinder us bringing new business in.
Okay.
And companies that now qualify to be a HUB certified company in doing what their business does, some professional services, other services, or whatever. So it didn't do that. I want to put a pause here.
Okay.
And say they have taken DE&I to this expanded thing on contracts, which has nothing to do with contracts. DE&I was put together for recruiting efforts,
Right.
not contracting. So either our people are ignorant to what DE&I is, or they're just using that as a
Dog whistle.
yes to now put a strain on contracting. State contracting is a law.
Right.
There are procurement laws for state contracting, and we do not color outside of the box.
Correct.
When it comes to that, because nobody wants to go to jail for not following the procurement laws. So putting DE&I and procurement in the same sentence does not make any sense, because they start out by wanting to suspend suspend the certification. But it doesn't do anything for, as we talked about, the RFP process because it is a state contracting stuff. So they're either trying to make people think that we're doing DE&I by now adding that to a announcement that the two are totally separate, different entities. So let me shut down because I could keep going, but definitely.
That was actually my next question, and we'll call that fake news, right?
Fake news.
All right, so we talked about this earlier. So Hub and MWBE came into play in the 1980s. And no, Hub was in the 90s.
Right.
MWBE 80s, Hub in the 90s,
Right.
DEI in the last decade. So if we put that part in perspective, then you could tell these are not the same thing,
Not the
right?
same.
So we're trying to help educate people on what DEI is and what Supplier Diversity, Hub, minority women-owned businesses, and how they don't necessarily connect on the same level at all.
Yeah.
They don't.
But anyway.
But at the end of the scope of this conversation, the takeaways are glaringly pointed in the direction of women, who's the largest group of benefactors from these programs in the state of Texas and in the United States. What say you ladies about the impact of women in these industries where they're getting and procuring these contracts and have allowed themselves to accelerate through the business industry at a maximum amount today? It's very realistic numbers. I was just looking at them this morning because I knew y'all were coming.
Let me correct you.
Yes, ma'am.
White women are the majority.
I wasn't
benefactors.
gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
Well,
Let's be honest.
but it has that's an important white women. That's an important fact. White women are the largest benefactors of all the programs that have been put in place, not just in the state of Texas, but in the United States.
I said the United States.
To remedy disparities that have been visited upon people of color.
Right.
Period. Point blank. End of discussion.
I love it. So there's a second part to this question. And the second part of that, knowing that that is the statistical fact that these incentivized programs have allowed for white women to accelerate through business, is this a lash out from the conservative right-wing agenda to nullify the progress that has been made in this country and in this state by women?
I really...
That's tough.
Yeah, I really can't put my head around that fact because do they really know the numbers and do they know who really benefit from? I think yes. What they've tried to stop is the minority group of people trying to accelerate that, even, the women on that side. But when we look at the dollars and percentage of contracts that are let, they are let to white women because where I'm at UT Southwestern, they're the highest amount. When I was at Dallas College, they were the highest amount. And you can only count white women in that category because we're trying to increase the minority. So Black women, Asian women are counted on the minority side of that. So
0.01%.
Yeah.
So it's like the SNAP benefit.
What?
Exactly. They're trying to make it like it's our minorities that are getting the money.
Yeah.
And they need to go interview the other people who are getting more money than we are because, some woman that gets $86 a month.
Right.
And then to make that last is different.
Not to cut your wisdom, but we know that there's long been this game that's played when we talk about subsidies versus welfare. Two two wings of the same bird. It just, one word sounds better for the purpose of procurement and business, and the other sounds like you're getting a handout, and we turn a blighted eye to that word when we say welfare versus subsidies. It continue. I just wanted to interject.
Okay. I thank you for your wisdom and giving me the wisdom back.
Yes, ma'am. We're just trying to get the topics on the table and have an intelligent conversation about what are we looking at in this country. What is the landscape? What is the reality of what we'll be facing if we don't start to understand that there is a lot of misinformation about how these programs have benefited minorities in this country, and whose they have benefited in this country.
Right.
Respectfully.
Right. No, because when was it not this legislative session, but
2 years ago.
2 years ago, when they struck out minority, and then they kept women, right?
Yeah.
And veteran. But so back to your question about class versus race.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that was
Did
we get to the answer?
We got to the
Right
answer.
there.
All right. Hallelujah.
But again, that something's getting ready to transpire. Something's getting ready to make a difference here. And I don't know where that's going to end up. So we see where it's going, even with the DBE program for TxDOT.
Right.
They're having to go back and recertify everybody who's been a DBE or ACDBE. So DBE is a disadvantaged business. The ACDBE is the airport concession disadvantaged business. So they're telling me there are about 50,000 of those across the country. And what they're asking them to do now is to recertify, but not based on race and gender. What they're having to certify about is what made you disadvantaged. Did you get denied funding, or did you get denied banking? Did you get denied, leasing a building?
Yeah.
So
that's a play.
So that's what my DBE friends are having to do in their DOT programs, the Department of Transportation across this country, whether it's state or federal. And then the friends I have in that space. So now, if you didn't save that document, if you don't have some archives of things, how do you now go back and prove? So are they now trying to eliminate a percentage of companies that really are in that disadvantaged place, but they have no proof? Yeah. So everything now is like, well, now we're going to do colorblind. We're not going to do race, and we're not going to do gender. So now you got to, say what made you economically disadvantaged and not socially disadvantaged. If you're Indian, Native American, you got to show your tribal card and your history, and you got to do all these things. So what level playing field are they really trying to get to when you're doing the things that you're doing to make people now do extra work?
Yeah.
They've got the business. They've been doing the business, and they've qualified for the business. And I have a friend that has several concession stands at DFW and at Love Field, and now she's got to go back and
it's
say,
a lot of paperwork.
These are
when I started working on some of the MWBE work and hub work, and I saw the paperwork, I was like, well, what paperwork does the majority have to fill out? And they said none. And this is a different level of discrimination.
A barrier.
Yeah, because the company that has all the money has to do very little work. And the company that may have one or two people, they're bogged down in paperwork. Yeah. And they don't just fill it out like the one time, like you might do your RFP. And then there are monthly reports. And sometimes there might be more reports than it. It's a lot. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying that it's a lot more work on this small business, minority-owned business, than it is for a major company.
Yeah. When they're doing the paperwork, time is invested in the paperwork. So if they calculate the time to do the paperwork, and you know what that's like, that could be days. They could spend, let's say, $10,000 in labor time doing all of that just to get. Now, the additional piece of that is the HSPs, the
Mhm.
historically underutilized paperwork that goes with that, or whatever additional paper, where now we're trying to make it for everybody. If it's for a HUB program, if it's over $10,000,
Yeah.
over $100,000, everybody has to fill out that paperwork, even if they are self-performing
Mm-hmm.
on that particular job, because you have to tell us that's what you're doing as we are tracking what those dollars are spending, who's spending them. But there's just thousands of labor hours just doing the paperwork.
Mhm.
And as you indicated, now you got to do all these reports once you win the project, right? Once
Right.
you win that, it doesn't stop with winning and go ahead and do the work. You have other additional stuff
Mhm.
that's put in that you are responsible for.
And what if the project does not begin?
Mm-hmm.
You
One
win a
another year.
project,
Yeah.
you might not start actually working on the project for a year.
Yeah.
If you are MWBE or a hub business, unless you're like a first tier prime, because in construction it's pay when paid, unless there is a quick pay program or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So as the MWBE, the small business, the hub business, you may very easily, and we literally call it, you're financing the program.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're financing, those are the businesses that are financing the project.
Yeah.
Because it's paid when paid.
Yeah.
Now we do pay quickly once we get paid, but
it
if
could
But
take
you
a-
don't know
it
when
could
you're gonna
take
be
a while.
paid.
you know the state and whatever their payment terms are, it does impact.
And we're talking about a small business, so they $30,000 that they may
Yeah.
not get for 6 months, or even $500, or even $1 million
Could
that
be
they may
your
not
ending.
get for 3 months or a year. How that can impact a small business and them being able to continue and go forward and get their next project. That might be their last project.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
overextended.
And that is the
realistic.
last thing
Very
that we want to
And
happen.
God forgive if
Yeah.
they invoice or their pay app or any of that stuff is wrong and it has to go back.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff has to be
Perfect.
perfect
Yep.
before they do, as well as a lot of it has to be notarized that they've agreed that it's perfect. And then by the time we get it, review it, get it through payroll, you're talking about 60, 90 days. And if you aren't able to fund that, so that around the finances of a small business, as I said before, you got to be financially stable and able
Right,
to
in
carry
order to
that
do that.
load,
Yeah.
during
Before you
that
get
time,
paid.
or be able to have that, what is it, if financing from a bank, when they have a loan where they can readily go and say, I need X amount of dollars, to keep the operations going until we get paid. So,
And I don't even know if we're going to get into bonding capacity
No,
today.
we-
That's a
that's-
whole.
that's
That's a whole.
like I said, she can bring you a whole different group of people for that.
This will have to be two parts, ladies. I'm listening to all of the things that you ladies are saying, and there are other things that I want to throw on this fire while we got it blazing. What should then we be demanding from the government on the local, state, and federal level with these institutions that are charged for the allocation of funding for these minority businesses? What should the general voters and people who have interest in these programs be asking these local, state, and federal agencies to do?
It's the faces for me.
See, in my head, I am thinking that I work for a state agency, so all of that funding and budgetary stuff
ma'am.
is in a whole different department. And so when you're talking about what other people should be asking, it really is a trickle down effect because the funding goes to the state agency, as I am. The money is allocated, but the project has to start. So there's lots of layers in between. I don't know.
These are taxpayer. These are our taxpayer dollars.
That's right.
These are our taxpayer dollars, and as taxpayers, these agencies, these politicians, these folk really do work for us.
Sorry.
And we just have to, I think, get to a point where we organize, collaborate, come together to understand the power of our dollar and how we spend it and who we spend it with.
Quite frankly.
And I will leave it at that.
So are we just
And we can get rid of the people who don't support what we need.
Amen.
Love that. Love that part.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
always exercise our right to vote to get rid of the people who don't support what we need.
speaking of voting, ladies, are we just going to have to prepare for the monumental setbacks in these jobs and contracts and businesses? Or are we primed to actually fight for the things that are necessary to make the changes that are needed with the grievances that you ladies have talked about here today? Where are we on accepting what's going on versus changing it?
What has given me, I don't want to say it's hope, but for all the things that, segregation is one thing for sure is that we had our own. And what I see this time is us being an opportunity for us to realize that we are better together as a collective, and to support each other. Be it, how you doing your Christmas shopping, where you're not shopping. At the end of the day, what matters is dollars. What people understand is the bottom line. And to go back to your earlier discussion around diversity, equity, and inclusion, diversity makes businesses better. It's just, it's factual. You can look at the data. It is good for business, and it's good for businesses' bottom lines. So I think that this is just an opportunity for us as a collective to come together and to really look at how we're spending our money. Because at the end of the day, cash is king, and that's what people understand.
So it's not really black or white. It's black or red.
Or green.
As my colleague said, coming together and collaborating, because we are living in a time that we've never seen before. And I'm just amount of age, and this is a lot, to encounter, even though we've been through some of the other segregational things and the discrimination stuff. But when it's hitting us in the way that we're seeing it in our face, stuff that was hidden in the background is now being put up front and saying, we don't care how you feel and how you think, and we're going to do this anyway. Right. Stop the mass confusion. Start coming together and strategize on what's going to be best for the people.
So
I love that.
I'd like to clarify on the issue of the target demographic for this conversation. And I said, let's clarify the targeted demographic, people that you ladies provide assistance to. As defined by the state of Texas, that group of people are Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, women, Asian Pacific Americans, Native Americans, disabled veterans, and there have been some others added. Your opinion, are these stated groups the target of the Project 25 plan, as Senator Royce West implied? And for those who don't know what Project 25 is, it's the ultra-conservative political initiative published by the Heritage Foundation in prep for the President Trump second administration. What say you?
It is not my opinion that the protected classes are the target. It is literally written in their documentation. So it's not my opinion. It is written in Project 2025. Protected classes are the target.
You want to add something, Dr. Webb?
Just based on what we've read and what we know and what we're seeing, they seem to be following what they said they were going to do. We should have been counteracting a lot of that. But sometimes we don't believe.
We told
yeah,
the people.
Yeah,
We
sometimes
told
we
the
don't believe
people.
what we read, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that show me better not
Mhm.
tell you.
Mhm.
Center has, and she's right. The protected class is
Mhm.
what the target was all along, and unfortunately, anybody else outside of that maybe didn't meet that criteria
Yeah.
is caught up in it.
I believe, in my opinion, that we're headed towards privatization of all of these entities that float the country, i.e., no matter if it's health, construction, business. I think the overall attempt is to bring all of these units back into the storehouse so that they can be distributed in a ways that it will prioritize and privatize a sell off. Dr. King said, and if I may, who's also HBCU graduate,
Morehouse man.
that's right. He said in a quote, he said, "We have fought hard and long for integration, as I believe we should have, and I know that we'll do well. But I've come to believe that we've integrated into a burning house."
Yep.
What are you ladies' thoughts about that quote?
Well, it's actually showing its face now. What was said back when he was alive and writing and speaking and stuff has not changed. All those words have come true.
I'll just use sports since this is Texas
Mhm.
and they love football. And I went to Grambling State University.
Who were you rooting for?
She's
talking about
football.
Coach Eddie Robb,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
who is the winningest coach in NCAA history. And Coach Robb really fought hard for his teams to be able to play anywhere, to play against anyone. Bear Bryant recognized that.
Yeah.
And recognized the talent that was at HBCUs.
Mhm.
And what has happened as a result of integration and being able to do and go to, and I like to pick on the SEC schools,
Mhm.
is that it has depleted that talent from HBCUs.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So they're going to these schools where, there is money and, opportunity and other things
Yeah.
that maybe they don't find at an HBCU. So I will just say that while we definitely wanted the right to go anywhere, eat anywhere, shop anywhere, travel anywhere, there has been a price that had to be paid for that.
Mhm.
So
So I'll tell you what my my wrap up statement is, Dr. Webb. She's smiling down here looking at me. She's like, this one right
What's
here.
next?
Yeah. So
I wasn't prepared.
You're doing great.
So you are both proud graduates of HBCUs, as am I. As we're going to have to refortify the HBCUs with our kids and realign our college and universities to focus not only on education but on jobs specifically to minority students, like we used to. Is that the intent for all of the things that we're seeing with the blowbacks against taking down all of these incentivized programs in this country? Or are we, in other words, being turned back to take care of our own?
yes,
Just point blank, yes, that's it.
I mean, it is making us turn back to that which we know. I say all the time, these are definitely turbulent times.
Right.
People are going to have a hard time because of what's happening in this country. But one thing, we know how to eat beans and rice.
Yeah.
Black
So
folks
what's
know
the-
how to survive.
We're going
What's-
to be all right.
Mhm.
Did you have
We
something you
gonna
wanted
be
to add to
alright.
that, Dr. Webb?
My thoughts, along with what's already been said, is the fact that African Americans or whomever should look at the fact that we have progressed so well that showing our kids that going to an HBCU is still as good as attending any of the other colleges.
Well said.
To now say, oh, they're not worth sending my kids to school for, is not correct, because the vast majority of what we learn out of those schools has to do with the education understanding of how we operate. So it doesn't matter that I went to Winston-Salem State University.
Right.
Look where I'm at today.
That's right.
Because of the foundation that was built there. And then when we stop thinking about that being, oh, that's not a qualifying university. So we have to now just begin to understand that this is important across the board, and to keep these HBCUs substantially operating, because, in the past, let's just be honest, financially, they weren't making it.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the brink of not having schools.
Right.
They were on the brink of closing down. And I've seen some of them come back.
Resurgence.
Because of that. And it's not because necessarily our dollars that are spent, but other dollars that are there. So it tells me this is important.
Right.
This school has something to offer to my kids and my grandkids.
Right. So
I sent my treasure.
Yeah, I got you.
To HBCU, and also my bonus daughter graduated from Grambling. So my
question to you directly then would be, what is the role of are you a member of the clergy?
She is, very much so.
Okay, so then both of you ladies, and I'll
she didn't even answer you.
I'll wrap this up. What is the role of the clergy, the Divine Nine, and our institutions of high levels of business to this collaborative of getting us on point to where we need to be as we tread ahead in this brave new world that's coming into existence?
Great question.
Yeah. Collaboration. They all need to come together and be on one accord. The problem is the Methodists got their thing, the Baptists got their thing, and all God's children got their thing. Well, we all God's children. And if we're not collaborating together, we can't continue to be separated in doing the things that we do. And then you have some people just hands off, with doing what they want and don't think it's necessary. But those who truly believe, those who are really concerned and want to see things changed, then I think collaboration is going to be the key for all of that coming together, and not this separation about denominations and separation because I don't like the way he was. No, come on, guys, and stop being these crabs pulling everyone down. We got to do this succinctly. When Project 2025 came together, they put their stuff there on the table.
Agenda was there. Clear.
Just do it. Why are we not doing that? And if we are, where are those people?
Yeah.
Where's that information? Where can I find it? Where can I go and be a part of?
Just collaboration and collective. You talk about, their initiatives that the D9 community have together, initiatives. I know here with some of the larger churches in Dallas, but it has to be collaboration, and it has to be for the collective, and we can't always focus on who's going to get the credit. A lot of times the work that we
that'll preach.
Be unified without being uniform.
Right.
We just need to know what the agenda is.
We need to know what direction is we're supposed to go, and how I get to there may not be the same way that you get there, but if we're marching in the same direction, trying to get to the same endpoint, because it takes different ways to attract, because what is going to motivate me is not going to motivate my 27-year-old daughter.
Correct.
So how do we motivate and get everyone marching in the same direction? Because to your point, I'm sure there were some things that maybe the drafters of Project 2025 didn't all agree on, but they all had one common goal.
Yeah.
And so they made that work, and that's what we have to do. We are not gonna like everything, but as collaborative collaboratively and as a collective moving in the same direction.
I want to thank you ladies for tolerating me today, and you've answered the questions in the highest style, and I appreciate your time here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have
Thank you.
2 questions, ladies. One is
Speak up.
Rockmaster Scott and the Dynamic 3 had a song. I want your opinion. The roof is on fire. I'll let you finish the second part.
We don't need
No water.
no water.
What's your opinion on that in connection with Martin Luther King's quote?
I love it. I love it.
Sometimes we do.
Hey,
in
right here.
Got to bring it around.
That's right.
And as trying as the times are right now, we got a little comfortable.
Mm.
We got a little comfortable,
A
especially
little.
we had that glorious 8 years.
Mm.
We're 40,
Lulling us to sleep.
they're 44. We got a little
Wake up.
complacent. And this is definitely a wake up call for us. And so while we don't want it to burn all the way down to the ground, we don't want to take it to the studs. But yeah, some change needed to happen.
Yeah.
And, we have representatives like my sorority sister, Jasmine Crockett, who's out there, fighting the good fight. We can't continue to play this game the way that we've played it in the past because it is obvious that the rules are changing. When we try to play by the rules, they change the rules. So we're going to have to start, meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
Dr. Webb?
Yeah, I agree. We did get comfortable. I got comfortable, at this program for Hub certified suppliers because you think everybody's on your side and they're fighting with you when in the background they really weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So while this roof is burning and we're trying to get the water and the fire extinguishers to put them out, if we're not strategizing to make this, come together, then we're going to find that, as she said, we'll be burnt down don't want to be burnt down to the studs, but we need to start building.
Yeah.
And we should have started building. I feel for my grandchildren, and I have great grands, that's going to have to endure some of the things. So we have to take some interest in what's going on and be aware. If they're not taught and brought into some of these conversations that we talked about, the kids that are in school, the jobs that are going forth and things of that nature, we are going to be in a lot more serious position than we are now. So to have this conversation, and we thank you for inviting us, that
Absolutely.
This wasn't all about the Supplier Diversity in the Hub program. It is about Making America, what the history is and what we can move forward with, because we've got a future that needs to be planned for these kids.
That's right.
That's moving forward. We got a future to plan for people like myself who's going into, my elderly stage, and we'll talk about that later one day. But we're still here.
You can invite me over for some of that church wine.
We're still here, and if we don't get the Divine Nine or the clergy to come together or the politicians together as voters, there's something else that we need to be doing. And even if we do it individually as a family or a community or collectively as a nation, there is so much more that can be done. But we can't keep being so comfortable, and people who don't have an interest need to have an interest.
Yeah. All right, ladies, last question. This is the Making Black History Today podcast. What does Making Black History Today mean to you?
And because I didn't want to mess that up, I actually just made a note.
Okay.
And I don't have any notes.
Preacher, we know you're going to be long, so let's save you for last.
Right, because I'm going to get through mine. So what does Making Black History Today mean to me in the context of the work that I do, which was the question? And it means correcting systems, of economic disparities and building a new legacy of generational wealth and economic self-sufficiency within the Black community. This effort is a tangible response to historical and ongoing economic disenfranchisement, yes, moving beyond acknowledgement, because we all know it, to creating a future of equity and empowerment.
Hear, hear.
Bravo.
Beautiful. Dr. Webb?
So I'm going to shoot from the hip. Making Black history today. In the position where I sit as the Supplier Diversity Hub person, is to keep up the good fight, because there are times when you are so beat down that you want to go ahead and retire, give up, find another job, that kind of stuff. But you know the meaning and the purpose that you're there for. So I would say that for me, it was to keep the good fight going and to make people, stand up and listen while you're doing so, but also help help the small business, the minority, women-owned business, whomever that come your way, to make sure that they understand how to do business, what to do, how to act, what's professional, and to be prepared financially, economically. There are times when they need to have someone to pull them aside and say, hey, and I've done this to a person, like, you told me you wanted to do business here and I gave you this opportunity. Oh, well, Dr. Webb, I'll be there next year. Well, you may have missed your chance. And I'm saying to you, don't let these opportunities go by without at least trying, do so. So I agree with my cohort here in that if we don't help them along the way, then we will see more and more of these types of things happen, and that they won't be able to succeed, because if they don't have a seat at the table, they don't have a champion, they don't have someone speaking on their behalf, they will find themselves not being able to succeed. And that's not what we want to do. We want to make as many as possible have success stories for their families, for their legacy, for the history that they're going to provide, and that we can't believe all the narratives that are out there about us, because we are a proud race of people and we have a lot to give. We've already created, invented, designed things that we don't get credit for. So nobody can go build a city without something a Black person hasn't done, because you're going to be standing in nothing but trees and tumbleweed, because that's given to us by the good Lord, because we don't create those.
Yeah.
But I believe that we should just come together. We should unify.
Awesome.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. This was really, really good. I hope to do a part 2 with you sometimes in the year to come.
Thank y'all so much for joining us today. It has been a privilege. And thank y'all for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, we are actively looking for sponsors. So if you're interested, you can go to our website at www.makingblackhistorytoday or send us an email at impact@makingblackhistorytoday.com. Thank y'all. See you in 2 weeks.